Man, that's unfortunate. For real.
Sure.
So what are some resources that you know of that parents can reach out to in New Orleans that, I don't know, maybe there might be, I know there's a lot of free veteran stuff, but is there anything for just, people, citizens in the state maybe who need to seek mental health treatment at all?
Louisiana is ranked 45th in access to mental health.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's not good. What? I guess there's like one in the whole state.
So if you're close, there's like 6 or 7. There's like 6.
Oh wow. I was
They have 2 state-run facilities, psychiatric facilities, that are only for severe mental health disorders in the entire state.
Oh
Just
my
2.
God.
There is, because what more than often happens, again, lack of accountability. If a state is running low in budget funds, the first thing that they're going to dredge up is funding for mental health. That's the first thing that they're going to go after in order to fill that budgeting gap that they have. But as far as that, you can go to NOLA.gov and you can get behavioral mental health services. But I would start out by going to the Louisiana Department of Health. I believe it's the Office of Behavioral Health. It's ldh.la.gov, and there's a link there that says it's a hyperlink for the word region. So it helps you find your region. You click on it, and then wherever you are, it gives you your specific region for you, wherever you live, and that would be your first step as far as trying to access state mental health facilities and things like that. So again, ldh.la.gov, and go to the directory to find your local one. In particular for the Metro New Orleans area, I know it's the Metropolitan Human Services District. It's for the Greater New Orleans Area Behavioral Health Services Unit. I think it's on General de Gaulle in Algiers.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Now, the way the political climate is going, I see there may be a woman or some women candidates in the running for the presidential election. Do you see yourself? No, not for 2020.
No, I'm good. No, for what? Being serious. Okay. Being serious. Number one, I have to be 35, and I won't be 35 by then, so I couldn't run even if I wanted to. Couldn't even be VP.
Oh, dang. Okay.
That would be 2024 at the earliest.
Okay.
But what I will say is, one of the biggest things that's always kind of held me back, and I'm woman enough to admit this, is maybe an insecurity, or it's the same passion that gets me to speak is the same passion that pulls me back from running for office, because I'm critical of Donald Trump for one of the main reasons besides lacking a moral compass whatsoever. I'm critical of him because he lacks the basic civic skills of a fifth grader, civic knowledge. So I, myself, if I am going to be critical of another for their lack of knowledge about certain practices, I don't want to put myself in a position of that type of importance. I look at things because of the history geek that I am. I look at those things, like running for office is a privilege. Serving the people is an honor. That's the way it should be. You should feel honored to do what you're doing. You should be representing your people. All of them. Even the ones that didn't vote for you, no matter what. Because they are your people, and it's your job to look after them, regardless of their political affiliation, race, socioeconomic background, religion, whatever. But regardless of that passion, although I feel like that's the only qualification that I have, although it seems to be the one qualification that most of these candidates lack. Other than that, to be honest, I don't feel like I'm ready.
Okay.
And for me, It's one of the things that I tell my followers. I said it on my IG the other day. It depends on what you're following me for. Because if what you're following me for is like some other vlogger that it puts content out every day, every day, they do that because they are trying to keep their following up.
Right.
I never asked for the following. Although I love people and I want to reach more people, at the end of the day, if my following was started based upon principles, then I'm going to follow my gut. I don't really care about how many clicks I get or likes or shares, follows, all that. None of that none of that really at the end of the day matters to somebody like me, because if you're following me for those exact same principles, then you can't demand content. If you either want content or you want passion, but you can't have them both like that, because you can't fake that type of passion. It's organic and authentic. You want me to get on here and just say something? You want me to run for office and just do nothing? Like, what it? I want to make sure that when I take that position, I know that I'm ready to serve that position and to serve the people that elected me well. I take that position in a very serious high regard, which is why I'm able to hold somebody like President Trump so accountable, because you're unbecoming of that office. You don't deserve that title. I respect you for that title. Respect the title. Sorry, let me rephrase. I respect the title in your position, but he lacked the basic qualifications, of which humanity, maybe, other than common sense and compassion. But I can't run in 2012 even if I wanted to. 2014, I don't know. If 2020 is looking anything like anything for me, to be honest, Mom, I made a promise when I did that video on the tax reform bill, because I watched the senator at the senator, like I said earlier, they were writing notes in the dang margin of the bill as they were debating it on the floor, and they passed a bill that hadn't been vetted by the Congressional Budget Office, hadn't looked at. Cory Booker, I was watching him fret on Facebook Live trying to read the stats because they had just done it. You want me to vote on this bill? You want me to vote? They pushed it through right at the last second. And the one representative asked for was said, look, let's just put a pin in it and we'll revisit this tomorrow and give everybody a chance to read over that. I watched on C-SPAN, because I don't watch media. I don't watch any of them. From MSNBC to CNN to Fox News, I can't stand any of them. I watched on C-SPAN. I watched primary source material. I watched as senator and representative after all of them, one by one, voted to not even wait, as if it's not even worth them voting on. Like them actually voting on something of that much importance. And now here we are in the current state of affairs, where the average return is now 8% less, like I said, than it was the year before. And I said it, and I made a promise in that video to Bill Cassidy and John Kennedy, that if they went in and they voted on that bill, I would do everything and anything within my power to make sure that they weren't reelected. And their time's up come 2020.
Word.
That being said, it was a promise, and I said it was a promise and not a threat. If I got to run against you, I will. So if that's what it's going to take, screw it. I'll do it. It is what it is for me. This is my state. This is personal for me in my neighborhood, in my community. Because he doesn't represent. Here's the issue when you don't have people voting. But these people, again, it goes back into the lack of funding and education. How are they supposed to hold these people accountable? When they're they really believe, you know how many times I've heard on my social media, my vote doesn't matter. Really? Well, you vote for electors in the Electoral College. Okay, so you don't like the Electoral College, right? Great. You know how you change that? You vote for representatives who are going to go into Congress and write an amendment in order to change it.
Yep.
You don't like it, we can find a new system. Nobody said we have to stay under this old, archaic system. We can change it, but you have to vote in order to change it. Period.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter. But nonetheless, I do see politics in my future someplace. one of the reasons, like I said, the Juris Doctorate part is kind of important to me, because when I get there, if they don't start voting on their conscience, then the only thing I want them to be worried about is what old boy on C Block is going to be doing. They need to be worried about stuff like that.
Right.
Because they need to be held more accountable than just losing their salary. Because they're going to be getting it regardless once they get elected. They'll be getting that forever. I think these things very personal, because I've gotten to a point. I lost 2 more children within the last 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
To a 6-foot cell. Good kids, 17-year-olds. But ultimately, the system is failing us, and we're making progress, but it's not fast enough because I can't keep up. I don't have it in me. I've been pushing at this for a decade now, and it kills me, because my kids, and I look in their faces. It's the same thing I said in my first video that went viral. I don't feel comfortable with going to bed at night knowing that I live in a world that's different than my kids. And by kids, I mean the ones in the classroom. That I'm going into my classroom and telling these kids, man, I don't care what, you can do anything that you want to be. But I see the real world in the way that it is. My white skin hasn't blinded me from the ability to recognize what the hell's going on. Real recognizes not, everybody that says real recognizes real is wrong. Real recognizes everything, what is real and fake. And then express it. That's real. I'm not afraid to touch on the subject that people don't want to talk about, because that ultimately you have to identify a problem in order to address it. You have to get a diagnosis before you can treat it. But that's not going to happen so long as half the damn country really genuinely believes the global warming is fake, for instance. Like we were talking about earlier, joking about, like, this is where we're at because it's a lack of knowledge and background, and I don't want to put myself into a position where I'm not qualified for the job. I want to be able to walk into my classroom and to tell these kids that they can be anything that they want to be and really mean it.
Right.
It's a very very emotional and very personal thing for me, because I believe in certain things in this country, and that's what kind of just it's annoying and it's frustrating, but it's also disheartening, because this country is beautiful. It has so much potential, and we have yet to live up to it, not one. And
I agree.
One day.
But we got passionate leaders like you who are making a difference where they are. So
I hope.
Continue.
Lord have mercy.
It's also Black History Month, so I have a question for you. What African American political figures have impacted your life?
How much time we got?
Just one.
All right. If I had to choose one, I would say, and it's funny because I just recently went into my garage for the first time in like 5 years, and I had all kinds of stuff in there, and it took me days to clear it up. So what I found myself doing, ironically enough, was Martin Luther King Day. I was off from work. I went in. I was in there for 18 hours straight working in my garage, and the only thing I was listening to was a Spotify channel of Martin Luther King speeches all day long. Wow. I listened to I Have a Dream so many times that day. So many times, but he's one of those people that his purpose and his passion inspires me. And I know that sounds really cliche to choose somebody like him, but it's not it's on the principles and the ideals behind him. And it's ironically something that I adopted before I even really got into depth on Martin Luther King. Because even when I started speaking, people started attacking me personally. People tried to get me fired. I had threats on my children. People threatened to kill them, kidnap them. People threatened to kill and kidnap me. And I distinctly remember saying, like, you know what? And I did a video after I got my first death threat and saying, you know what? Come after me. Kill me. That's cool. That's cool with me. Because I could die any day, and if I'm going to die, I'd rather die behind something I believe in. But more importantly, you can kill me, and you can kill every person in this world like me, but no matter what, you ain't going to be able to kill an idea. You won't be able to kill the legacy. You won't be able to touch on words. You won't be able to you can't do that. The fact that it's something, matter of fact, girl, Hayes taught me. Hayes believes in a principle called existing beyond existence. It's fact that, or this notion that he had conceived, that the people that you interact with, the choices that you make in your life, create little pebbles that drop into water and create waves that can possibly change the tides of somebody's life. And in doing so, you'll never be forgotten. Martin Luther King will never be forgotten ever, because the fact that I'm simply sitting here talking about him proves his value, proves his existence, and proves ultimately Hayes right as well. You exist beyond your existence because you can't kill ideals. In his I Have a Dream speech, one of the reasons why, as again, as cliche as it sounds, in that speech, it wasn't just about, it was about civil rights, obviously. You're talking about 250,000 people marching. What I loved about him was the things that people might not even really realize. I had read once that he wrote that speech, but then when he got there, he was moved by the crowd, moved by the people, that he put the speech down. And that speech was all from the heart. All of it. And you can't fake you can't fake that kind of passion. You can't read from a paper and evoke that type of emotion from thousands of people. You can't. So for me, when he's saying certain things, and he's saying, he said over and over, I have a dream in this state, reiterating these things. And it's something he spoke about, the equality and things between the racial equalities. But he also talked about the promissory note towards our declaration, that all men are created equal, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are the principles, the ideals that can die, but they can be overlooked, or people have been miseducated on, which is why I only think that people follow me is because they want to believe in those things. They just don't understand how to own them.
Right. And that's where you come in. You kick that knowledge.
I mean, I'm doing my part. But what does it say that even in that speech, he says, he has such a consciousness, but his way with words, his rhetoric, his word choice, his influxes in his voices, everything about this, he's addictive and infectious in his passion. And people want to feel that. But in these current political times, people would rather do the easy thing and just be like, oh, it has nothing to do with me. Well, when your children are getting miseducated and they get passed on to graduate, can't get a job, and resort to not so great things, I mean, what are you going to do then? Or when your children get sick and can't get health care, what are you going to do then? Or when New Orleans ain't going to be here in 50 years because we have allowed the corporations and companies to destroy it, or just destroy the earth, period. And we're underwater. What are you going to do then? Like, there's certain things, even within that promissory note, that this is he called it the inheritance. And he said even 100 years later, here we are in 2019, and we're still, we've made gains, but not nearly as many gains as far as percentage-wise that they made. It's starting to feel like we're still here. But in the end, if people like us don't keep going, keep fighting, keep educating, keep taking that damn high road and letting them have the gutter, if we don't keep doing that, that type of evil is only going to replicate. Yeah. If you stand silent in the face of those tiki torch traders in Charlottesville, they win.
Yep.
Ultimately, they're going to reproduce and have more and more the uneducated or just ignorant,
uncivilized wild people.
I'll say
on a lighter note, Mardi Gras is coming up.
Oh,
Do you have any big plans?
I no longer participate in Mardi Gras.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, my birthday's on February 9th. My daughter's is February 11th. My son is March 4th. So collectively, between the three of us, our birthdays all fall around the same time. Like last year, I believe it was around mine and my daughter's birthday. The year before, it fell on my son's birthday. The year before that, it fell on my birthday. So it influences every year or whatever. So I'm off from work. The kids are off from school. I've been to Mardi Gras. They've been to Mardi Gras. Plus, it's dangerous. It's become super, super dangerous to take your children to Mardi Gras with the amount of people that's there, especially as a single parent. And the kids want to go to the float, and it's just me. I can't put both of y'all on my shoulders. Like, what am I going to do? So, and then not last year, the year before, this is when I decided to do this. The year before, they had a drunk driver. A guy drove his car into the crowd at the Endymion parade. Killed some people.
Wow. That's horrible.
So I'm like, you know what? Positive. Nope. I'm going to take my children every year on a vacation. We are going to take that week, and we go. So 2 years ago, I took them on a cruise through, we went to like Cozumel and Belize and Mexico, all kinds of other places. Honduras. Last year, I took them to Disney World, and this year, I'm taking them on a Disney cruise.
Nice. That's what's up. Well, take plenty of pictures.
Absolutely. So yeah, my son's going to be geeked out because they don't know. I haven't told them yet.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, if they're listening to this interview, they're going to find out.
Oh, shucks. No, they're in bed. Their bedtime's 8 o'clock. It's routine.
Oh. Do you have any upcoming events, such as speaking engagements or salsa dancing events, anything?
Next month, matter of fact, I go on the Disney cruise. I'll be on the cruise for that first little part, March 1st, and I get back. I think like I'm coming back on like the 4th or 5th. But the following weekend, the 8th through the 11th, I'll be at the Texas Salsa Congress in Houston. Next month in April, given the circumstances of my legal case and one of the reasons why I didn't settle, so I can sit here and talk about this stuff over and over and over and bring light to it. There's an event called Dance a Mile in Her Shoes in Detroit, and they asked me to come speak there because even within the dancing community, they have predators that jump in because it gives you an opportunity to touch women. Let's be honest. You have an opportunity to dance bachata and get kind of remotely sexual in a certain way. And some guys tend to take advantage of that. And in a party setting or social setting and things like that, it sometimes fosters opportunity for certain things, inappropriate things to happen. And this event is particularly beautiful for me because it merges two passions in my life. Dancing and speaking and helping and raising awareness and empowering women, because the dancing event is all women.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Like I heard it, I was like, oh, they offered it to me. I was like, oh yes, this is perfect. So I get to go dance, and I get to be around buku, gorgeous, and powerful women. And I'm just awesome. Self-defense training and everything. So there's that, and then of course my festival in August, the New Orleans Salsa Bachata Festival, with our second annual year, right on the corner now and Bourbon.
Awesome.
August 19th.
Unfortunately, I'm on it. Every time you have it, I always have something scheduled around that. I don't know what's up with that, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Dip out for a day. Dip out for a day, just one.
You're right. I'm gonna look. We're gonna talk offline. Before you go, can you share your social information with everyone, your social media information with everyone?
Alrighty, so you can follow me on Facebook at Rubia Garcia, or you can follow me on IG at Nola Rubia Garcia. That's NOLA RUBIAGARCIA, and also on Twitter by the same handle at Nola Rubia Garcia.
All right. Thank you again for coming on the show as always.
Absolutely, no problem. We gotta wait so long in between catching up and things like that, girl.
You're right. I have your number, so I should do better. But you have my number too, so.
Touche. Look at my life though. Like I'm trying to tell people, I try to prevent my chaos from spilling over into.
It's all good. We gonna get it together.
Absolutely.
It's your girl Sharryse, and I'm out.
Digital Dope Radio.